Some of our coaches have told me, "Oh, you want to see this young lad, Conor Bradley? He's some player."
Ready? Yeah.
I remember at the time going, and I've heard this before. Yeah, let's see.
It was just things he was doing. A 7-, 8-year-old shouldn't have been doing.
This little kid, give him the ball and he'll make things happen.
He was just special.
This is his dream. That was his club.
He was born to play for them as well because he was just Liverpool mad.
There was never any doubt that Conor Bradley would play for Northern Ireland.
Despite his early age, he's an iconic player now.
The kid comes from just outside Castleberg.
Now, I knew he came from a small place. I just didn't think it was as small as what it actually was. You could probably make a movie about Conor's pathway. How do you get to there to end up playing for Liverpool?
Definitely he's playing in a bigger theatre now, but it's nice to come back to where it all started as well. When I first came across Conor, it was a primary school competition. We were taking primary 7 children, and on match day morning, 8 a.m, 3 to 4 kids ring up sick with the flu. So I have no subs, and I'm ringing around constantly looking for a substitute. Conor's cousin Shay was nagging at me, get Conor, get Conor. I just kept thinking, this young lad at Money Soccer will not compete at primary 7. We got the tournament, and within 2 minutes, the first game, one player got injured, so I had no choice but to throw young Bradley on. And I begged him, I said, please get the ball, just move it on. Don't take anybody on, don't tackle anybody, just move it. And the first thing Conor does is goes into a 50-50 with this massive kid. It was like watching Frankie Dettori up against Peter Crouch. It was bang. And Conor wins the ball and runs on, and I'm thinking, wow, this is something else for a kid. And he actually won the play of the tournament. I'd never seen anything like it. It was just things he was doing. A 7-, 8-year-old shouldn't have been doing, you know, and he was playing against kids at 11 years of age, and he was the best player on the pitch. He was just special.
I first met Conor when he was probably about maybe 11, 12 years of age, and we were running trials for a group of under 12s that was going to go out to Qatar for an invitational tournament. And we were running these 9-a-side games, and this tiny in stature young kid came along, and not only was he technically very good, but he had energy and pace, but he was also a very quiet young lad, but also very forthcoming in his questions and desire of wanting to know why he was doing things. So even at a very young age, he stood out. He absolutely stood out. His athleticism, his technical ability, and his humility was probably 3 of the biggest qualities he had at a very young age.
Some of our coaches have told me, "Oh, you want to see this young lad, Conor Bradley? He's some player." I remember at the time going, and I've heard this before. Yeah, let's see. I just remember him coming out on the pitch, you know, and like a big handshake and a smile. He had such a big smile on his face. And then whenever we started talking about what was going to go on in the session, I could just see these eyes locked on every word, hanging on every word, listening so intently. And then when he went away to do the warm-up, I thought, this lad moves well. He moves really well. Then we got into the games, and I said he could play. He realised, right, Conor's going to be the top of his age group. And I remember having a talk then with Linda, his mum, before we went on to Conor, and saying, right, we're thinking of moving Conor up in age group. How do you feel about that? And she says, we'd absolutely love that. That's what we really want. So I said, Conor would be good with that. He says he'd absolutely love it. So he moved up in age group.
When I came back into the Northern Ireland job, it was December 23. It was a little bit difficult coming back into the job, and I was a little bit unsure of what the group of players looked like. I'd just lost Stephen Davis to an ACL injury. Stuart Dallas was out with a long-term injury, and the squad was, you know, the older players were hanging on by their fingertips, really, if I'm honest. So the version of them that I was going to get was not the version that possibly I had anticipated, or the player that I remembered from possibly 3 to 4 years previously. When I was manager at Stoke, actually, I spoke to Barry Hunter about bringing Conor on loan, and they told me that they didn't think he was ready for the Championship. And I remember going to watch him in the December, maybe December or the January, when I saw him play for Bolton in the League One. He was more than ready. That really ignited my enthusiasm for the job a little bit.
I remember one time giving him a jersey, you know, and like the jersey, the short sleeve jersey, but it was down there to him and it was down around his knees and trying to get it tucked in to get him to play. And it wasn't easy because Conor was a late developer. You know, he wasn't physically as well developed as a lot of the other kids, especially playing a year up. But that was so good for him because for him it was such a challenge, the challenge that he realised, but it also gave him an opportunity to think faster.
This little kid, give him the ball and he'll make things happen. He was more of an attack-minded player back in the day. He played off either wing. Whenever the ball was at Conor's feet, you just knew there was things happening, and he was a step ahead in terms of his thought process, but also, you know, how he received the ball, how he took the ball in tight areas. He was just a player that you knew had a high level of ability, but also a want and a need to improve and get better, even from that young age of 11 and 12. But that only got more fierce.
He was also a player that we weren't really sure what his best position was, and I think that had to be determined. And it was probably good that it wasn't determined at such a young age.
He loved the left wing, he loved cutting in his right foot, he loved scoring goals, he loved that attacking side of the game. And it was something at the time we didn't want to take away from him. I think there's such a lack of creative players, especially around this part of the world. We're not taking that away from the kid. He loves that element of the game. He could play as an 8 in midfield. He loved that with his running power. To this day, I think he still could play there.
Joe McAree, who was at Dungannon Swiss when Conor was there, like, he always tells me that if I'm brave enough to play Conor as a midfield player, I'll see the best of him.
And then, you know, you were looking at his athleticism, the role of a modern right back, and a modern full back is as many final third entries as any player on the pitch now.
You had to work hard to get past Conor Bradley at a young age, as you still do now, but just a real appetite to defend, but also to attack, and in transitions, you know, as a young kid, you never seen anything better. It was just natural to him. So I think it evolved. We always felt that he would end up being as a fullback. I think the early discussions we had with Liverpool when they were coming over to watch training and assess him, they also were getting that feel. It materialised quite comfortably for Conor because it was his running capacity and his ability to travel with the ball and link play. It was really high level.
One of the first times whenever I coached Conor, probably 11, every night after he goes home after a session, he draws the session out and writes it down. So in case that session is going to be done again or delivered again, you know what's coming.
You know, you're talking about a kid that at 11, 12 years of age was told in one nutritional talk about the importance of eating food after training and hydration, and you never had to tell him twice. When I think back, the first it was really coming with packed lunches and protein and stuff to take after training, and you know, he would have done anything for the least amount of gains.
I would say over the 4 or 5 years that I had Conor, I would say in 90%, 95% of the training sessions and the matches I've had him, he was the hardest working player. And that's no discredit to any of the other lads, because a lot of them work really hard, but that was just the nature of him.
The thing with Conor, for me especially, was the training sessions. You know, he challenged you. I was an experienced coach at the time. I'd managed and been an assistant manager in Scotland, and I'd managed here. Yet when I went to take an under 13, under 14, under 15 session, this lad from Castle Derby asked me why we were doing it. He had asked me what's the benefits of doing it and what can he do to get better. You know, so you're going on these sessions knowing, right, I better be on my game here, because this kid, he wants challenged. He wants the best we can give him.
He wants to be the best. He always wanted to be the best, and he'll do whatever. You know, he'll work hard to make sure he is.
He was doing basketball in school.
You went to boxing training?
He was going to the gym when all our players were having a night off.
Cross country as well was a big part of Conor.
He was taking one-on-one sessions for his finishing and his crossing.
He would go and play Gaelic.
Well, the thing about Gaelic football, there's a lot of duels, there's a lot of 1v1s, and physically it would be a lot tougher than football.
Conor probably ran a cross country race in the morning and maybe went and played a Gaelic match in the afternoon. His family had a strong support system to him and a real commitment to help him maximise whatever his potential was.
His mum and dad were always there for him. It was great, you know, and travelling to games, and there was never no pressure though. You know, they stood back and let him play his football.
I felt as a family nothing was going to stop them. As a family there was only a bit of bad luck maybe, but There was never any doubt that Conor Bradley would play for Northern Ireland.
I made him captain for 2 of the games and he really took on that role well. I had a conversation with relevant people in Liverpool about it, how they felt. Would he be ready to do that? And they were unanimous and that they felt he would. I spoke to Conor and he was obviously very, enthused by the opportunity. I had a quick word with his mum as well, and she was she was like, he'll be fine. He'll come and discuss things with me individually. He'll come and he'll discuss with the coaches. He'll be demanding in training of other players, which is what you want. He's still growing into that, but I think that he can really bring the best out in players around him as well, which I think will just develop over time.
The leadership, you give him an armband, love that, love being the leader, but be leading by example. And he went on to be the captain of his group there.
He was the captain of all these teams and you could see him just driving everybody on, Favourite moment would have happened down there was a derby game against Derby, our local rivals, and they also had a really good B-side. I think it was under 11s as well. And the game was 1-1 in stoppage time and they were actually on top. We were defending the corner. I would have took the draw. I was like, please just blow the whistle. But we cleared the ball, and however Conor managed to get to this ball, he drove clean through the middle and there was nobody near him. He must have been 25 yards out, these wee small nets. I could see him shaping to shoot. I'm like, oh, and I went to roar, Conor, no. It was already hit at that stage, and it hit the top corner in the net. I'm just running straight over the supporters, big slides and a big celebration. That was the moment that I couldn't believe it, that a kid did that. I was just wanting to win. I was hoping he'd round the keeper and do it nice and neat, but no, Conor pinged it from 25 yards. It was special.
Listen, there's loads of good memories, and one, and obviously that player of the tournament in the Super Cup a year, early scoring really important goals at international level. How he conducted himself, but we were playing an international under-16 game as a friendly out in Estonia. We went down to 10 men and we were really under pressure, and Conor came on at half-time, had a bit of a rattle at the team about when still we were 1-1-0. I think he might have scored the goal, but he'd done the work out by 4 different players in that game, and we ended up, listen, winning for Northern Ireland was a big thing, even at youth level. It gave them the mentality that they could win, because a lot of teams over the years haven't won at international level for Northern Ireland, but he drove the team on that night in Estonia that I've never seen before from a 15 or 16-year-old kid. He was with 10 men, he was bombing under the box, he was putting tackles and blocks in, and he just looked back and went, this boy's on a different level.
Favourite one, probably the Victory Shield. It was a big thing for Northern Ireland. We only ever won the Victory Shield once, and this age group was coming, the 2003s, which was Conor's age group, and they started to get noticed. Right? There was people starting to talk about them. But for Conor and a lot of the other lads in the team, they won this. They wanted to go down as history as one of the best teams. So Conor was the captain of that team. And I remember in that tournament, against Scotland, we were a man down. And to be fair, the ground the lads had to cover was serious. A really good Scotland team as well. And on the last day, I remember one time Conor made a run up the wing because he was selfless. His running was selfless against Wales. His legs just buckled from under him with 5 minutes to go. He had just emptied the tank. But we went on to win it, and him as captain, and you could see for him that he was so proud because he had done that, and that was him ready to move to Liverpool then. He had achieved that, and he'd been in the history books, and away goes then on to the next chapter.
The goal against Scotland was a bit special for him because they had won the game, and I think we played him in a slightly different position, which I think was important. And just, I remember just giving him a wee hug after the game because it was a big moment for him, to play and score his first international goal. It was quite interesting because he was playing against Andy Robertson on the night, so it was a special night. You're playing against obviously one of your, a great Liverpool player in the opposite team. That's probably where I saw, Conor Bradley come of age that night.
There was a lot of interest in Conor. A lot of clubs wanted to take Conor. He was happy. Over and back, Liverpool were coming and watching him training, not forcing him to go over too early, too soon. And again, it felt like a really good match.
obviously there's a party as well going, is this too big a club? You know, is it too big? Will they ever get a chance to look at the players of that club? You know, the Trent Alexanders, the World and Robbos and Van Dijks, you know, but you're going, no, we're not holding this boy back. This is his dream. He wants to play with them. That was his club.
I sort of just knew that he was going to go there, and I just knew that he was born to play for them as well, because he was just Liverpool mad. I don't think it really hit me until I seen him playing against Chelsea and scoring that goal. That's when I think when it actually kicked.
To be honest with you, it sent shivers down my spine when I heard it. I turned the TV up, they're singing Conor Bradley's name, and surreal. It was so special, and so proud. So proud I was.
And the same celebration, the sliding on the knees. Don't think it mattered if it was that pitch or it was Anfield. He always just wanted to play football.
I think when Conor made the tackle on Mbappe, it was almost like, for the cop and for the people in the stadium, this is like going back 20 years, you know, to see someone tackle in that nature.
That was on him from 12 or 13 years of age. It doesn't matter what size you were, or what height you were, or who you were, or what club you played for. If you wanted to be hit a tackle, he would hit you a tackle, and he never flinched from anything like that.
I get this all the time. Even, did you see that tackle on Mbappe, Rory? I've seen that 15 years ago in Enniskillen. I've seen the exact same thing here.
International football is a fantastic honour for any player, but the actual highest level of the game is in the Premier League and the Champions League, and Conor's obviously having exposure to that. It gives me immense pride to see where you know, him being able to operate at that level. I also think that how you know, he is viewed by the crowd at Liverpool, which is a big thing.
You see the no fear and the willingness to go to toe with the best, whether it be Mbappe or Bellingham or whoever he faces in the Premier League. It's like he belongs in Anfield and he belongs on the international stage.
Conor's number was number 6 playing with St Pat's, and I believe all the number 6 jerseys now have gone missing around the club. That's the jersey that everybody wants to wear now when they play with St Pat's. Despite
his early age, you know, he's an iconic player now because we've not had players at that level.
Here's hoping they can get a major tournament, where a Euros or a World Cup or something. Would have been just absolutely brilliant to see him perform on that stage.
You sit at home or you're watching these games on TV and you're fortunate enough to have a decent enough career, but when you see somebody like that really achieve and really go at the top end of professional football, real top end, you know, scoring for Liverpool, playing in cup finals, captain his country, just proud and so happy for him.
There's so many Liverpool supporters now in this town, it's crazy. And that's because of Conor Bradley. Everywhere I see, it's just Bradley, 84 in the back. A lot of players now, even just run about with St Pat's tops, or it could be Derview, Killing, any other clubs, but the Liverpool top underneath it, you know what I mean, with Conor Bradley. Or it could be a Northern Ireland top, you know what I mean, with Conor Bradley in the back. I think it's just nice because it's normally a player from Uruguay or Argentina, or, you know, it's only from Castlederg. It's fantastic.
In some ways, it's made coaching a bit easier because, as I'll have to mention, now whenever Conor Bradley was that age, see if I had asked him to do that, he was doing that right away. And you've got them. He's a role model. He really is a role model. All the young kids around here, they look up to him. They absolutely idolise him.
He'll always come over if he's at home and the hand out to shake the hand. You know, he's still just a wee lad from the town. Like, that's just the way I'll always see him anyway, you know. But I know to everybody else he's a superstar, but he's just Conor to us, you know.
Score! Good.